Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BS Drum Pod presented by bsdrumacademy.com. My name is Ben Hodges, and I am the owner and creator of BS Drum Academy. And I am your host for the BS Drum Pod, where we get to nerd out about drums, my favorite thing in the world. Today, I want to talk about a big problem that happens with music education, specifically about drums. A problem that comes up that anytime someone wants to take music lessons or learn an instrument for the first time and often comes across this problem. And this particular problem is very specific to drums. And I'm going to explain why. The problem is that lots of people choose not to try a new musical instrument because they either cannot afford a new instrument, or they don't have the right equipment or the right resources in order to learn. And music, and all types of music, is for everybody. Now, with drums is the one type of instrument that you can actually learn without even owning a drum kit. That's right, folks. You can learn drums without owning a drum kit. Now, if I was talking about guitar, well, that would make a little bit sense, where it would be extremely difficult to learn guitar without a guitar. How are you supposed to know where to press your fingers on the fretboard or how to strum a guitar without owning a guitar? It's also like learning the trumpet. How do you learn the trumpet without a trumpet? It'd be extremely difficult to do that. It's kind of like saying, I'm going to learn how to swim without ever going in a pool. I mean, it's impossible to do. But with drums are one of those types of instruments that you can learn them without actually owning them. And lots of people will be very intimidated by when trying to learn drums because they don't own drums. They think the only way that you can learn them is by physically owning the instrument. And that's actually quite untrue. Because the percussion and drumming is a type of instrument where it uses a lot of rhythm, you can actually learn rhythm and tons of stuff without them. For example, what could you learn without the drums? You can learn how to properly keep in rhythm, practicing rhythm exercises. You can practice and learn timing. Okay, how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 through quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, 16th notes. You can learn all of that. You can learn rudiments, which basically means a rudiment is basically a pattern that you play with your hands or your feet that make noise on the drums. You can learn about dynamics and accenting notes. You can learn about the drum vocabulary, learning the parts of the drums, how to tune it, or even how to take care of it. You can even work on technique and critical listening, for example. Maybe you listen to a song and you really listen to and think about what are the drums doing in this song. And tons more things you can learn without drums. What I'm trying to say is that drums is a very universal instrument and an easy instrument to learn, whether you have drums or not. Today, I want to talk a little bit about how you can practice your drumming without any drums at all. So we are going to try two different scenarios. One scenario is that you have no equipment at all. Zero equipment, not even drumsticks. You have zero equipment. Here's a couple things that you can do in order to practice drumming without any equipment. One thing that many people do when they don't have any equipment and not even drumsticks is they find a surface that they can play on. One of the most elementary and fundamental and probably really important parts of learning drums is learning rudiments and patterns and rhythm. Now, you can do this without any type of drum or drumsticks at all. What I would recommend is you find yourself two different items that you can hit with your hands. For example, some things that you could find in your house. You could find some pillows. You could find a couch. You can find a table or a box. You can use your knees or your legs. You can even tap along on the steering wheel as you're driving to work. Lots of things that you can use. And the two sounds that you're going to find are one of them is going to be being your snare drum, which is going to be like a higher sound. And one of them is going to pretend to be a bass drum or a kick drum or the low sound. And what you're trying to do here is you're trying to find or create your own little instrument or little drums inside your own house that you can use to play along with. You can hit the low one sound anytime you want a bass drum noise, and you can hit the higher sounding one every time you want a snare drum. Quite often, what I find myself doing is anytime I'm bored or I just need to fidget or I'm watching TV, I always find myself air drumming. I air drum and I hit the couch anytime I hear a great song, and I'm playing along to the song, playing along with my hands on the couch. One instrument I've also learned a lot about over the last little while is something called a cajon. And a cajon is basically, in a nutshell, a fancy wooden box that you play along with your hands. And you can play with your hands on this instrument. So really, by playing on pillows or couches or surfaces, I can actually be playing along on the cajon. It's exactly very similar. The cajon also has different parts on the wooden drum where you can find a bass drum and you can find a snare drum sound. If you happen to have let's say you happen to have drumsticks in your house. Well, that's even better than having no hands. Having drumsticks is a good step up from having no equipment at all. A good pair of drumsticks can cost anywhere from $3 all the way up to about $11 or $12 from your local music store. And you can get them from a lot of places. But having a pair of drumsticks can be a good starting point for you to progress to the next level. Once you have your pair of drumsticks, another option that people often buy is getting a practice pad. And a practice pad is used to play on with your drumsticks. And when you add the element of having drumsticks, you now have a way that you can practice technique and hand position and posture. You have a way to be able to practice all of those. And now you have a way of really maximizing your rudiments. You get a good feel for how the drumsticks will bounce off of the surface. Versus if you're playing with your hands on a couch or a pillow, I mean, the pillow is not really going to bounce back that much. But with a drum pad or a practice pad, or even using drumsticks off of a floor or a table or some kind of hard surface, the drumstick will bounce. So you're learning how to control the bounce and utilize the bounce for your advantage to play. So lots of great things. Some people even use their drumsticks on pillows or different surfaces that you can do. Those are great options to do as well. Another pro tip that you could use in order to practice the drums without owning a drum kit is to play along to songs with on these surfaces, whether it's a pillow or your knees or a steering wheel, and play along with them using your hands. What I often do as some form of practice, and I do this even when I'm practicing my rudiments, is I put on not just sometimes a boring metronome where it's just like a counting noise over and over and over again. And sometimes what I do is I will play a song. I will play a song in my headphones or on the loudspeakers, and I am trying to play along with the song itself. Sometimes when you are brand new, you have a hard time coordinating yourself. You're trying to like play the bass drum and the snare drum on your fake pillows, like by yourself. You're trying to play along with them, and you might get lost, or you might get confused, or your wires seem to cross, and maybe don't have that coordination. Drumming is all about coordinating itself. So a starting point would be to work on coordination with your hands. You can start that by learning rudiments. So during that song you're playing, you could be playing a single stroke rudiment, right, left, right, left, right, left, over and over again during the song. Another time, maybe you could play doubles with 2 on the right, 2 on the left. You could be playing doubles during that song. And you are playing the rudiment at the same speed as the song. So if the song is 120 beats per minute, then you are going to be playing single strokes and double strokes at 120 beats per minute. And from there, you could experiment with accent notes. You could experiment with dynamics, meaning playing quiet sometimes and playing loud sometimes. You can experiment with all different sorts of patterns. Lots of great things that you could do. Another thing you could do while you have the song playing and using your hands or drumsticks on a practice pad or pillows or whatever your situation is that you actually will play along to the song with the kick drum or the bass drum note, the low sound, and the snare drum sound, the high sound. Now, sometimes this can be very confusing, especially if you don't know the song. So I would suggest you pick a song that you know very, very well. And you would start off by only playing the low note. You would be playing the bass drum. So you would listen to a song, and anytime you hear the bass drum noise, that is when you could hit the low sound. And maybe just the entire song, you're only hitting when the bass drum sounds. And so you're kind of critically listening to a song, and you're just trying to identify what one part of the drums are actually doing. You could repeat that same process with the snare drum. So you basically listen to the song and you only play when the snare drum plays. And this is an exercise that you could do to really critically listen to the song. And it gives you a deeper understanding of how to play that song. So there are lots of different options and ways that you can play the drums and learn the drums without any type of drums at all. And I really wanted to just share this small, brief little podcast with you. As you know, this is a smaller one today, only just to talk about this myth and this fear that I cannot learn drums because I do not own a drum kit. And that is so incorrect. There is a lot of stuff that you can do and you can learn about the drums. And basically, when you have all these skills without the drums, and one day you will be fortunate enough to own a drum kit or get a chance to play on it, the background work has already been done. And so it's very easy to basically transfer all that rhythm and timing knowledge and rudiment knowledge right to the drum kit itself. And of course, it'll be a little different because drums have a certain feel to them. It will feel different than a pillow or a practice pad or a tabletop or the floor or whatever you choose to hit. But it's a great stepping stone in order to do that. So when people practice drums, people aren't just practicing just by only playing the drums. People practice by playing rudiments in a practice pad. They practice by doing some critical listening. They practice by practicing their timing and their counting. I constantly do rhythm and timing exercises. Even just when your favorite song comes on the radio and you start tapping away towards a song on your steering wheel, that is practicing the drums. That is practice. And that's some great stuff that you can always add to your routine. And it's a very easy way actually to practice drums without actually playing the drums. If you own drums and you notice you can't play them because they're very loud and might be disturbing your neighbors, well, these are some great options that you can use as well to play quietly and to learn the drums still. So no matter what, there is no excuses for not being able to learn the drums. There is a lot of things that people can do. And if you ever need help on how to do this, I would love if you're able to sign up for lessons with me. I offer some online lessons. I offer some in-person lessons, and we can even talk about it during that time. Even during my level 1 drum series video lessons that I sell online, there is a lesson in there called Rhythm and Counting. And I talk about exactly what this stuff is. I'm talking about exercises that you can do to practice your rhythm and your counting. And so I offer that on my website as well. Some great resources that are available and for dirt cheap as well. So I really encourage you to try it out and to practice these things and to really experiment with how you can practice the drums without actually playing them or anything, because this is a big reality for lots of people. There's lots of information and resources and lessons and instructors that are out there. And I, of course, would be blessed if you would choose me at BH Drum Academy to help you guide you through this. I'd be happy to do so. And I can give you some personalized coaching and personalized planning for anything that you need. So that's today's episode. Thank you very much, everybody. And I appreciate the listen and the follows. Go ahead and give me a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to these podcasts. And check out my website at bhdrumacademy.com. And I have Instagram and Facebook and all the jazz. But tell your friends about it. And I really hope that I get you to come and join my world and have you nerd out with me about drums. So thank you very much. And we will talk to you in the next episode. Peace.